Now joining us in studio is Seth Panyako. You just saw him there. He's Secretary General of the Kenya Nurses Union. So is the strike on or off?
I'm here. The strike is on. I'm the only person mandated in the Kenya National Union of Nurses to call off the strike. But before I go ahead, I want to send my message of condolence for the families, friends and relatives who have lost their beloved ones in the Naivasha accident. We're really sorry as a union. Yeah, but going back to the topic is that the strike is still on. Nothing has changed. In fact, when you heard what they said, nobody mentioned that the strike has been called off. You cannot say someone to go back to work when you have not called off the strike.
And you had issue
because
with
they have no mandate to do
the
that.
National Governing Council was not involved in calling off the strike. That was your biggest qualm with
Exactly. They were negotiating, and until Friday, they say they have concluded their negotiations. I told them, fine, you bring the document you have negotiated. The National Governing Council has been convened, as you are aware, on Monday. And I told them, whatever you have negotiated will be presented before the National Governing Council, because that is the body that called this strike. And that is the body that has the powers to call off this strike. You cannot purport to be calling for a strike, which you did not call yourself. Even me, I didn't call it. It is through me as authorized representative of the National Governing Council. It was not me calling that strike. So if they knew they had powers to call the strike, why did they not call it? Why did we have to spend money of the union, almost 6 million, to convene a meeting in Nakuru, in Tomboy Leper College, to have people come and make a decision they want to call strike, and then you come and on a Sunday you go to purport to call off that strike? The strike is still on, nothing has changed, and if you want to know, wake up tomorrow and do a survey. The strike is on. In fact, it's going to be relaunched tomorrow.
This agreement with the government was signed by the chairman of the union and your deputy secretary general.
Yeah.
Is this a binding agreement?
It is not a binding agreement. It cannot be binding on anybody, because if somebody has to perform the functions of the General Secretary, the Labor Relations Act Section 2E says that responsibility must be delegated to that person in writing. I have not delegated Maurice Opetu nor John B to perform my functions of signing legal tenders.
So Maurice Opetu and John B don't have the legal mandate to sign on behalf of the Kenya National Union of Nurses?
They have no legal tenders. Whatever they have signed, it can't even hold in law. In fact, tomorrow, one of us can move to court, and it will be challenged, it will be thrown out.
Yeah, and beyond it being legally binding, you also said that they acted in greed. They're driven by greed because it was done unprocedurally.
Of course, that is a fact. Yesterday, they were held hostage in Afya House. I tried to speak to the minister, and I told him that there is no way we can call off the strike before the National Governing Council come. But these fellows, then I told the minister, because trade union must use all tactics. You can even tell somebody, I'm going to come back after 2 hours. When you step out of that room, you disappear. And you go switch off your phone. So I told the minister, we will come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. When they stepped out of Afya House, I immediately called them. I told them, you people, you are not going back to Afya House. Switch off your phones, go to church tomorrow, leave me deal with Afya House now. Until Monday, when the National Governing Council comes, they will never hear of me that. They were just in the evening roaming, they are buying suits. So you see, they have new suits, all of them. They went to buy suits, they are going to State House. They were so much excited about going to State House. You can't be excited. Let me tell you, calling off a strike when you went out to say we want harmonized collective bargaining agreement. The nurses the government has already brought a discrepancy. Look at Job Proof L. The government is giving doctors 36,000 shillings, and it is giving nurses 20,000. Look at Job Proof M and above. The government is giving doctors and is giving nurses 15,000 shillings. Honestly speaking, this is a deal which is in the public domain. For you to own this deal, the National Governing Council has to come and say, look at all factors and agree that we agree with this deal or we don't.
All right. They say this deal that they signed today will be ratified by the National Governing Council tomorrow. You say that is not coming up. What kind of scene will there be at the National Governing Council tomorrow?
That is the right position. How do you ratify what has been signed? The National Governing Council, for heaven's sake, it's not a rubber stamp. It has men and women who breathe fire. They can even sack me tomorrow. I have always been saying they are my employer, and there is no way I can hold my employer into contempt, because these are the people who pay my salary. I am not paid by government. I rely on the salaries paid by nurses, and I must respect the institutions. We have institutions in the union which must be respected. If they feel that the National Governing Council is coming to rubber stamp what they have done, they are completely wrong.
You also had issue with the cases filed by the Council of Governors that have not been finalized yet.
Of course, there are two things that we have to look at. Even if that agreement was going to be agreed by the National Governing Council, because I don't know the mind of the National Governing Council. I have not said that I refute the deal. I only said, let us subject it to the National Governing Council. I didn't say I've refused it. 2, if the National Governing Council was going to accept this deal, we have 2 issues to be resolved. Number 1 is that the Council of Governors has taken us to court and they have obtained warrant of arrest. We have warrant of arrest hanging on our necks. You want to call off a strike when I'm still being hounded to be arrested? Why should we do that? One of the issues in a collective, if you are doing a return to work formula, is to say the case has been withdrawn. That is not featuring anywhere in that agreement. 2, recognition agreement was to be signed before the strike is called off. Even when that agreement says like that, even the letter that was written by the Council of Governors was saying that the Nurses Union has said it will not call off the strike until the recognition agreement is signed. It is on that basis that they have convened the county government official responsible for signing on 14th. So the only time the strike is supposed to end is after 14th, or on the 14th after signing of recognition agreement.
Are you sure you still speak for the nurses? Are you sure they're not with the chairman and your deputy?
Those are the things you will see tomorrow.
Okay.
If they don't speak with me, I will definitely be leaving the union.
Okay.
I have no business lead people who don't want me. If my policies and my principles and my leadership are not auguring very well, because I'm hearing they're even telling government, and this keeps on coming whenever there's a strike, that Panyako has not worked in the mainstream civil service, so he doesn't know the problems we go through. So then they know the problems that nurses go through, that they want to continue accepting discrepancies. Why do you want to pay an employee 42,000 in one job group? And we are saying we want a harmonized collective bargaining agreement. We can't allow that.
So tomorrow will be a very determining day for you in terms of your future with
the union. Of course. It is,
All
of
right.
course.
Okay.
It is, of course.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in tonight, Seth Panyako, Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Nurses.